Welcome to this IDG gathering. The gatherings are what we call our monthly heartbeat of IDG experiences. So we are meeting here once a month normally, and invite different speakers to share with us. And so we all gather around the IDGs, learn together, evolve together, grow together. So I think we can turn on the music now. And Rafa, I will hand over the word to you, since you told us that you will guide us here into a coming together and arriving here together today. Thank you for that, Rafaela.
Yes, welcome everyone. Since each one of us is coming from a different place and doing a different task, I will invite you for a short grounding exercise just to land here with presence, which is one of the skills from the being dimension. So I just invite you to find a comfortable position where you are seated, trying to stretch your column as if an invisible wire was pulling your head up to the sky. Place your feet on the floor if possible. And if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze. And just start to bring your attention to your breath as you inhale and exhale. I invite you to take 3 deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through your mouth. And just connect with your body. Feeling the ground of where you are sitting now. We have so many people from so many different parts of the world here. Just connect to this little piece of land where you are seated. And as if you were in a helicopter flying up, I invite you to zoom out and think about the country where you are. Just feel how is it to be in the country where you are. Let's connect with the feelings that you have for this country. And then you can zoom out a little bit more, as if you could see the continent where you are now. Let's zoom out a little bit more, as if we were an astronaut. And then we see planet Earth in the galaxy. And we have so many people here from different parts of this planet. a house that we share and that we care so much. People who have chosen to be here today in this gathering, because we all trust and have hope that we can co-create a better world. So just connect with this global humanity, this global community, this shared humanity that we have in common. And just feel how it is to be part of this community. Then you can place, I got you to place your hand on the top of your heart. And just allow you to feel the hope, also the concerns that might be there, the trust in the possibilities. With the heartbeat, as so many hearts are connected here now. And as you perceive your own body, your own heart, I invite you to start returning to the present moment, returning to this piece of land where you are sitting. And when you are ready, you can slowly open your eyes. Choose someone in the screen from this global community and open and smile as if you could greet this person in person as well. And expand and see more people in the screen. And welcome. I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Thank you, Rafaela, for supporting us to land here together. It was very beautiful, and I think also so fitting to our topic here today, the topic of hubs and networks, and we called it this IDG gathering community garden, raising the question how to turn the IDGs into action. And I'm super happy to welcome 5 amazing individuals as speakers here today, next to all of you amazing people that made it today to join us in this meeting. Thank you for that. And I would like to start with Pontus and Ariel, who are both leading the hubs and networks within the IDG movement, to kind of kick us off in this meeting today and tell us a little bit more about hubs and networks, what it is about, because I believe there are quite some newcomers to the IDGs and for sure to the whole hub and networks here today. So Pontus and Ariel, thank you for joining today. Thank you for co-designing, co-initiating this gathering together with us. So how do you feel? Let's start with a very open question. Ariel, I want to start with you. What is your intention for this meeting here today, when we ask the question how to turn the IDGs into action?
My intention. It's a beautiful question. I think I've had the great gift of meeting so many people who feel drawn and connected to the IDGs, to the inner development goals. They feel a lot of resonance with these skills that are often unseen, that maybe they've even been working with in their own context. And it has put a language to something that they feel so passionate about. And I think my intention for today is to support some of our incredibly inspiring hub coordinators who are taking this framework, this concept, and then applying it into their local context and experimenting and trying and learning and figuring it out as they go. And I just feel so inspired by the work that they've done that it's ignited a fire in me. And my intention is that I hope it ignites a fire in all of you who get to listen and participate today.
Thank you. Pontus, igniting a fire. I think that's a perfect bridge to what I would like to hear about you. There is at the moment more than 500 hubs across the world. Can you give us a little bit of an overview, especially for those of us here that are new to the hubs, new to the IDGs, maybe even? What is this Hub and Networks all about? How many people are involved? What is happening there? Would be great to hear from you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I actually want to demystify what it is about because most of us are already doing it or have been doing it in different ways. So holding the fact that there's so much already happening out there, not only in those that are defining themselves as hubs, but in so many places there are good examples, and today we're going to see a few of them. So what we have now is this emerging network of people who feel drawn to the idea that the inner matters. We need to work on our both individual and collective skills to become more wise, but also to create agency together in order to deal with the complex and really urgent challenges that we have as humanity. And it's a call to come together, to co-create, to share tools and methods and ideas, and to allow not only individuals and hubs to come together, but actually also movements. There are so many movements that work with human development in different ways and that share a similar vision. So yeah, let's co-create.
And I like it practical. So to pin it down to a very concrete, like to get a very concrete idea of what it would mean to engage within the hubs and networks. What do you actually do there? It sounds all super fancy and interesting, but what actually happens there?
Yeah, go on, Ariel.
I think that like it starts kind of if we're going with the fire. So people who feel drawn to the IDGs, they want to put it into practice. And I think it starts with the conversation of a deeper why or purpose. How do I want to bring this to my local context? How do I want to connect with people around like practicing, for instance, practicing the IDGs together, and then finding people who have that same deeper why, whether that's in a place or people across the globe who want to kind of figure out as a core team, what is our purpose, maybe 3 to 4 people, what's my deeper why, and how can I invite people into that? And just kind of as Pontus was saying, there's a lot of breadth and diversity to the deeper whys that why people feel called into this. Some of it is around like really around climate work. Some of it is around bringing this to organizations. So many cross collaborations and cross sector hub work has happened as well.
Mm-hmm. Pontus, would you like to add something here in terms of what does it mean in a very concrete way to be part of the hubs?
Yeah, sure. I mean, very concretely, it is about showing up, meeting people from other places around the globe or locally joining forces, sharing tools and ideas. And another thing that is going on parallel to that is that we are getting organized. I mean, it's quite overwhelming with this explosion of interest and people who want to join. So how do we organize ourselves? How do we govern this, body that is emerging? How do we fund it in a generative way? Those are questions that we're also working with together.
Mm-hmm. If I want to get engaged now, say I'm new to this, I'm like, where I'm here, what is this meeting about? IDGs, I think I like it, and I don't know of any local initiatives. What would I do?
I love this question. And Christian, maybe you can help me out by putting a link in the chat, but I would head to the IDG community page and I would have a look at that where you can, one, look at a calendar of events where you could actually join into a hub event so you could just see what it's like. You will also see a list of all the existing hub coordinators and hubs, and to see where your attention and curiosity goes. Maybe you want to reach out to a hub that speaks to you, have a one-on-one conversation. And then if you continue to scroll on that page, there's actually a spot where you can submit an application to start a new hub.
I think if I may add, like my personal story with these hubs, that's I think what was one of the first kind of points of contact with the IDGs, and there was already an existing hub in the city that I live in, and I found it on the website. We got in touch with the guy there, and it was really amazing how many new people I've met over the hubs here too. Like-minded people that I did not know before. Some of them have become friends and for sure allies in what we are doing here. So I think it's also just for that, in a very local context, a great opportunity to connect. So thank you very much, Pontus and Ariel, for doing what you are doing, and also for sharing it here with us today. We agreed that today we will be, yeah.
Hannah, we will be here also for the afterglow. So if anyone wants to stay and talk more, we can do that.
I just wanted to mention that we agreed up front that today we want to highlight more three amazing women and their work, very practical examples of how to put the IDGs into action. And we will later on in the last half an hour of our gathering here have the opportunity for breakout sessions in smaller groups where Pontus and Ariel are still there to answer questions and to explore together whatever your interest is in the hubs. So Ariel, I know you are very excited that our three amazing speakers are here today with us. Why is that? Why are you so excited?
You're so sweet, Anna. I'm excited because I find these three women to be extraordinarily inspiring. To me, this is what the IDGs are about. It is about, building connections to the places that matter most and organizing ourselves around these really important challenges. And it's just a gift to be in their company and hear their stories. And I come from a place of reverence and honor that I get to introduce them today and that we all get to listen.
Thank you. So would you be so kind to introduce Daeun, Pooja, and Rafaela to us, since you know them well and also well?
Yes. I'm going to just give a rundown of all of their bios, and then I will introduce them as they give a little bit more context about their story. So we have Rafaela Romin, IDG Florianópolis Hub in Brazil. Rafa is the founder of Brazilian Experience and coordinator of the IDG Florianópolis Hub. Experiences in Nature actively drives the Inner Development Goals Initiative in Brazil. In December, Rafaela co-led IDX Inner Development Experiences, the first IDG Immersion in Florianópolis. This transformative event focused on inner development as a catalyst for personal and societal change, fostering a vibrant community empowered by IDG practices for personal growth and connection with self, others, and nature. Pooja Bhale from the Kindness Club in Pune, India. Pooja, leading the Protecterra Ecological Foundation in Pune, India, champions environmental education and planetary well-being by fostering empathy for the earth and self through awareness, education, and outreach initiatives. Pooja initiated the Kindness Club, TKC, back in 2013 and became an IDG hub in 2023. TKC is a safe space for over 70 members to engage in inclusive, non-judgmental conversations, active listening, and diverse learning experiences. TKC serves as an open intergenerational weekly forum inviting people of all races, religions, and genders to discuss contemporary topics essential to our evolving world. Daeun Kim from IDG Korea Hub in Seoul, Korea. Daeun is a leadership coach and facilitator who blends inner growth with external change. As the IDG Korea Hub coordinator in Seoul and a core organizer of the IDG Asia network, she's dedicated to integrating Asian perspectives into the IDGs, promoting cross-cultural collaboration and offering extensive learning opportunities. The IDG Asia network, initially stemming from a single Hong Kong hub meeting, has grown into 25 hubs from 10 countries. Every last Wednesday of the month, they exchange insights and share activities, wisdom, and experiences, fostering an inclusive environment for global collaboration. So we are first going to hear from Daeun, and I want to say when I met Daeun at the summit in Stockholm, and today this is all about action, the action dimension of the IDGs, I watched Daeun step into optimism, just this way of connecting with people about possibility around openness and curiosity. It was so beautiful to witness you make those connections and to see how those connections carried forth after the summit. So really, I kick it off to you, and we're so happy to hear your story today.
Thank you, Ariel. I really appreciate your kind introduction. Hello, everyone. This is Daeun from South Korea, and it's truly an honor to be here to introduce IDG Asia Wisdom Network. Expressing the essence of the Asia Network was pretty challenging for me. I was really worried about leaving out important details dedicated to our network members. After much contemplation, I decided to start with my personal journey. In my career, I focused on international development in NGO, particularly poverty and education for SDGs. Recently, my passion shifted to uncovering individuals' potential and guiding their inner growth as a leadership coach. My encounter with IDG motivated me to establish a hub in South Korea. However, navigating how to adopt IDG into Korean society while building a hub was pretty challenging. Around that time, Noel, the hub leader in Hong Kong, reached out to me. She shared the idea of Asian network and the possibility of collaboration. This is the picture we met for the first time. Simultaneously, hubs were emerging across Asia, each operating in its unique way. Despite this diversity, there was a lack of comprehensive sharing of activities. Noel, our initiator, took this lead. So, our first network meeting took place in July 2023 with participants from 6 countries and 8 hubs. On that day, we named our network the Asia Wisdom Network, symbolizing the rediscovery and sharing of our ancestors' wisdom, ever present yet sometimes forgotten. We committed to meeting every last Wednesday of the month, sharing the activities and the idea of each hub. Even the challenge of different time zone, we managed to meet regularly each month. But still, sometimes I'm a bit confused with time difference. Sharing our activities become a rich experience. China organized movie screening, Japan hosted the Zen conference, Thailand engaged in ecotourism, and each activity provides a unique insight. For instance, inspired by a case in China, the Korean hub attended the Swedish Film Festival, watching documentaries on climate change and ethnic minorities. The network facilitated mutual learning, fostering the growth of our hubs. Connections with the global team were solidified. Discussions on the theory of IDG Global Practitioners Network and Global Teams Initiative won question. It provided valuable insights to our network. Through the network, hub coordinators established connection with the global team, gaining a deeper understanding of IDG. And this is our big moment. The Global Summit in Stockholm, Sweden last October. We finally met face-to-face, not on small Zoom screen. We shared stories, built relationships, and encountered our new perspectives. I think our Asia Wisdom Network was quite attractive to so many individuals. They expressed their interest, leading to increased diversity in our network. The meeting expanded from hub coordinator to include individuals living in Asia, those interested in Asia, and those with roots in Asia. It was a significant and beautiful milestone for us. Hub operations has evolved. A core working team formed, covering monthly meeting, house space, and hub connectivity and administration. Now the Asia network has members from over 10 countries and 25 hubs comprising more than 5 individuals. Now let's explore what sets our network apart. We co-create, foster a global community, and learn together. Going beyond the surface, consider this. Despite being categorized as Asia, we are a diverse group. Each member comes from different language, culture, and career background. Within this diversity, sometimes we do face challenges like language barrier and cultural misunderstanding. However, we cultivate a culture of mutual respect. We understand the importance of pauses, reading between the lines to establish a safe and comfortable space. The Asian values of mutual consideration seamlessly integrate, creating a peaceful atmosphere. In essence, our wisdom is in creating this harmony together. In conclusion, I express my gratitude to Noel, whose leadership has been instrumental in making this network a reality. I extend my thanks to the Asian Network members and hubs for their invaluable contribution through this journey. Special appreciation goes to Hannah, Ariel, Christian, Pontus, and the unwavering support from the global team. Pooja and Rafaela, we are excited to hear your story. And finally, to the audience, thank you for attentively listening to my story today. Today, I refer to the Asia Wisdom Network, but I look forward to hearing each one of your wisdom in the future. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. And I love the circles of gratitude at the end. Thank you. So inspiring, so beautiful. I'm going to hand it over to Rafaela, and the IDG skill of the acting dimension that I have seen time and time again you live into is perseverance. you get an idea and you bring that idea into being. You manifest, you breathe life into things that people don't think are possible. And it's so inspiring. So I hand the microphone over to you.
Oh, thank you, Ariel. Having this team with you, Pontus, and our team, global coordination team, always supporting, it also brings me energy to make it happen. But let's talk about my team in Brazil as well. So I'll share the screen. So as you've heard, I'm Rafaela, based in Brazil, in Florianópolis, which is a beautiful island in the south of Brazil. And I was invited to talk about the inner development experiences, the IDX, that we designed here as an immersion based on the IDGs, inspired by the IDGs. We had the first edition from the 8th to the 10th of December in 2023, and we have the second edition already in April this year. And how it always started, I think it always starts with a dream. And we had this dream when I got to know the story of the IDGs, and especially the Nordic Secret, and learning about the Oak Island, the retreats they house there. I felt, oh my God, I would love to have something like this in Brazil. And I even contacted Thomas Bjorkman back in 2022 to talk with him about this intention. And he really listened to me and talking about that idea. I also thought about taking Brazilian executives to Sweden to do retreats in the Oak Island. And he said, you have already a lot of tools and knowledge, just make it happen, do a prototype. And he highly encouraged me to try. And then I had this dream, and soon I met other people who had a similar dream. It started with Alex, which is here also in the room. So maybe if Alex can raise his hand, people will see at some point. And Leo, which is also here, he's also a hub coordinator with me in Florianópolis. Later, we decided that we wanted to invite Maíra, who is not here today, could not join. But we started to talk about this shared intention. We all were very involved with the IDGs and really connected with its purpose and intention. And we started to dream together. So it all starts with this dream and finding the people who share the same intention. And I want to name here also Ricardo Cato, which is also in the room. And he's not part of the team, but he was the person who built the bridge for me and Alex, so that I could meet Alex that lives in the same region of Brazil. And we just started like to talk about this intention, this idea, and this purpose that we had to really create a community of engaged people who feel empowered to act locally. And it starts from the inside out, because we believe that inner development is the basis of the transformation we want to see, and to achieve these better results collectively. So we share that, and we start to talk and dream together, and so it started to manifest, and we decided to select a date in this beautiful setting, which is called Espaço Aviva. Pontus was here in Brazil, is here in Brazil, and he had the chance to visit the Aviva space last week in Florianópolis, which is an amazing place with beautiful energy. And we went there together, me, Alex, and Leo, when we were about to decide the date, and just feeling and sensing the place and dreaming together. Really like the immersion started inside of us, also inside, from the inside out. And that's the world we want to see. It starts within ourselves. This is the place where we brought the people together. Stunning. So you're all invited to come to Brazil and see in person. And how was this immersion put together? After we decided on the date, we started to design the agenda. And it was based on the IDG framework, of course. But we also have this big reference of theory U. So we decided to start with the thinking dimension to really open our minds about our paradigms of thought, what we need to let go to co-create a better world. And then we started to go to the being, the relating, the collaborating, and finally, on the last day, acting. And it was a 3 days immersion, starting on Friday until Sunday. That brought together 36 people, leaders from the industry, from business, consultants, facilitators, leaders also coming from public institutions, educational institutions. We also offer 3 grants, 3 scholarships for people coming from NGOs that have impactful work. We wanted to make the inclusion possible. And a lot of people ask me, so how did you bring these many leaders together for 3 days? Other people that I talk with the IDG community, they say it's so hard to take them out of their tasks and their work. How did you make it? And it's really based on our network. A lot of people that knew our work, that started to learn about the IDGs through us and got very curious. So we kind of spread the word about it, and they really felt encouraged to find this time in their agenda. And we need to trust, and we need to take this step while as we prototype something. Let your fear away and just go for it. It will manifest beautifully. And this is a video we produced from our immersion. It's in Portuguese. We didn't have the chance yet to do an English version, but we'll soon do it. That you can see some images of how it turned. It's very special. The original sound that it has now is based on a poem that was created by one of our participants during the immersion. And it will show a little bit of the activities we've had and the connections that people established. And it was very successful. All of them left really, really motivated to take the IDGs to their local contexts, to the organizations they work. And we will have this second edition now in April. So we are already recruiting people to join. And as I said, I really feel this opportunity I have now to share our story with you. We will empower you also to prototype something in your local, where you live now, in whatever place you are. Just start to dream, start to cultivate this intention inside of you, and look for the people, share your ideas with those that you think also share the same intention. And don't hesitate to prototype, because we need to test. We need to test our ideas. That's how we bring the IDGs into action, is by prototyping. And we've done the first immersion. I think it's worth mentioning also that we collected feedback, structured feedback from our participants. And even this now, the second edition, we are increasing the length of the immersion. We will start on Friday morning. The first edition we started on Friday afternoon, so that they can have more time to build connections, and we can do it in a slower pace, because we know through the IDG framework we have so many tools. But it's also important to have time for contemplation. You can see how beautiful the setting is. And yes, I will change it here and say obrigada, which is thank you in Portuguese. I'm very pleased to share a little bit of the IDX with you.
Obrigada to you, Rafa. Thank you so much. I mean, bringing dreams into reality, so powerful. Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Pooja. I wonder if you can guess what IDG skill I'm going to say. Time and time again, I have witnessed you step into courage. This is a woman who says the thing that needs to be said, that all of us are thinking. It just so much courage to challenge, to be reflective, to help all of us grow, including herself. So thank you for being here, for sharing your story, and I hand the mic over to you.
Very, very good evening from India. I am in a city called Pune. Thank you, Ariel, and thank you, Hannah, Christian, the IDG team, Pontus, and thank you, Daeun and Rafaela, for setting up such a beautiful stage to bring this in. It's in the middle of the night. I have no idea why I'm still feeling so happy and bright, but maybe because this is so beautiful to come home to. And before I share my screen, my background is that of a wildlife biologist. I have spent most of my life in forests, and on most days I prefer the company of animals and jungles over people. However, I realized, like a very wise professor of mine told me at university, that conservation is about people. You don't need to go convince the tigers that they need any saving. You need to go talk to the people. And during this work, it has brought me full circle after 10 years into the inner development goals community. And I'm seeing so many people I've met at the summit, and I want to literally call out and say, hey, hi. But I will focus on my job at hand and share a screen like a good speaker. So here we go. Just very briefly to introduce Protecterra. Protecterra Ecological Foundation was established back in 2011, and we hold a core vision of bringing humanity together in solidarity for planetary well-being. We have been doing what the IDGs figured out 3 years ago for a long, long time, and I think that makes a lot of us. But the IDGs have put a beautiful framework that makes it easy for all of us to come to a common platform. So it's a beautiful thing to come home to on so many days. We work in awareness, education, and outreach. And very recently, we started really scaling up and finding global partnerships. And one of the first ones that we got recognized for was a Home for Humanity, which is a movement in France. And soon after came the IDGs. So it's just starting to see that the whole world is beginning to talk about a lot of the stuff that we felt like we were doing in silos. Has been very, very gratifying. On the little right-hand corner, I presume you can see that, we have various different initiatives under Protecterra, and the Kindness Club, as we call it, started out in a small outhouse, in a backyard, because I had a bunch of books that were gathering dust. And I was like, somebody needs to use these books and read them, else they're just going to sit in the library and have termites eat them up. So we opened them out to the local kids. And the kids used to come and read these wildlife books and talk about these stories. And this was 13 years ago. And one fine day, I had a bunch of 4 little boys sitting in the room, talking about it. And I heard them whisper. And I have been, because I'm a forest person, I have sharp hearing. So I picked up something that they should not have been speaking about. And it was young boys, prepubescent, very curious about the world, not having a safe space to ask questions that were in their mind when it came to the opposite gender, when it came to girls they were noticing. And I had a choice in that moment to, reprimand these kids that this is not the stuff we talk about. What's wrong with you? This is very impolite. Or I had a choice in that moment, and I don't know who gave me that maturity because I myself was rather young. Had a choice to ask them that, okay, can I help answer this question? And that was where the start of what is today the Kindness Club began, in just holding a safe space for, these 3 little boys who were curious about women, and they were, preteens and had a question. And that is how it has evolved 13 years later into what we today call the Kindness Club. The Kindness Club, we will talk about in just one second. This little mandala that you see, in the heart of it is what we do. We work in spiritual ecology, environment education, and planetary well-being. The reason we shifted to spiritual ecology was largely because of the fact that I kept coming across people, and Rafaela will resonate with this, who were completely disconnected with the source of life. They were completely disconnected with nature. They had absolutely, I was talking about let's protect nature, let's care about our tigers, let's care about our planet. But people were really, really not with it. I had kids coming from cities who had never seen butterflies in their life. I had adults who had not walked barefoot in decades together, and I was telling them to love a planet that they had no connection to. So the journey very actively was going to shift into, a lot of the stuff that we do now. So we have multiple different initiatives, and some of them are very action oriented at a project called The Farm, which is where I live. So I live in the company of 40 animals in a canvas tent for the last 9 years now, and I'm sitting in the tent as I speak. And back in 2011, we started with this little book in nature club. And over the years, we've, transitioned into hardcore spiritual ecology and understanding that the connection with the earth is the connection with the self. And the connection with the self is very much what we bring to the planet. So we started doing a lot of shamanic work and elemental work. And our flagship project is The Farm. And The Farm holds space for most of the stuff we do, except the Kindness Club, interestingly. And I will tell you why. But the Young Naturalist Club, where our littlest ones are 2.5 years old. So our target audience, a lot of people ask us, so who do you work with? Who's your target audience? And as crazy as it sounds, but not to this forum, one hopes, is that our target audience is humanity. It is not a certain section of society or a certain age group or a certain generation. We are working with mothers and toddlers. We are working with children who are, I keep saying that, listen, they need to be potty trained. I'm not going to clean anyone's bum. So I generally work with kids who are able to tell me I need to use the loo. So 3.5, 4 upwards, all the way to our oldest who are part of the Kindness Club, who are about 87, 88, and, walk in with their little walking sticks to the forum. So this year has been just very briefly our journey over the last 13 odd years. And at this stage in 23 and 24, we found this incredible family that I have the privilege and honor of speaking to today. And, the Kindness Club essentially started from the fact that too many people were sitting around too many coffee tables talking about too many things that really didn't elevate their life. And that bothers me. It gives me immense anxiety to talk about the weather for longer than 4 seconds. And, those little boys who were talking a lot about things that they didn't have a safe space for gave rise to this incredible forum that now has over 70 members who actively participate in conversations. We have a whole format. Previ, my project coordinator, is in the middle of a big happy Indian wedding currently, so she's not here with us right now. But we meet every week for the last 13 years. We have met every week. It's grown from 4 people, 5 people into 70, 75 odd people. It's a free forum. It's intergenerational. It is sort of 15 plus. We try and keep it just over teens because there's some really deep topics. So we've covered topics ranging from money to sex to, love to what does it mean to live in a world that seems to be going down, justice. We've even had people in India, a lot of stuff is still very closeted. So we've had people come out with their stories. We've had people talk about stuff that is just not openly spoken about in India. So it's become this incredible intergenerational open, safe space, no judgment sort of conversation for a couple of hours every week. We meet at a beautiful cafe in town called Coffee Nation. And we proudly now say that we are an Inner Development Goals hub. A lot of people ask us what that means. And it's very difficult to, make something like the Inner Development Goals tangible. It's extremely difficult to start talking to people about, so let's display courage and let's be perseverant and let's have resilience and let's have self-awareness. So what we've started bringing into a lot of our initiatives across Protecterra, but also very actively in the Kindness Club, is at the end of every Kindness Club, we pose to the members a question that which IDG quality or skill did you feel most connected with today? And what's been so fascinating to watch is that people think. And, so many say that, I didn't feel very self-aware today. You guys, we had a topic on food last week, and we all took a little bit of food, all of us took little pieces of food to the club, and we had our eyes closed, and each one was supposed to guess what we were eating. And something as simple as that created so many conversations. My God, we don't know what we're eating if we don't watch it. How are we living? Do we know the kinds of things that we eat? So it's very subtle level work with what we're doing. But what has been very heartening, and dear Hannah gave us lots of notes, so I'm going to go back and refer to my notes. The impact of the work has been it's been heartening to see that people feel like it's okay to be real. It's okay to speak the truth. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be absolutely crazy. It's wonderful that the team at Protecterra, and we are, 7 full-time employees. We are over 40 volunteers that hold the organization together. Everybody has found a home within it, and everybody handholds each other. And though I lead the organization, oftentimes I'm the one who's being held by this incredible community. And I think that is what has been the most incredible impact to feel. And coming to the IDGs, it just feels like it's coming home, and that we are not the only 70, completely wacko people taking 2 hours out. There's loads of us who care. So clearly we are not the outcasts anymore. It's where the world is going to move to, and the fact that we're going to pay attention to our hearts a lot more than we potentially were before or had the courage to accept. So that's a little bit of us. We do loads of different things, but it's been beautiful since I came to Stockholm a few months ago and met so many of you, and I have met so many sacred sisters who are in this gathering here. And the Kindness Club is a part of the Asia Wisdom Network. And the Asia Wisdom Network, which Daeun very beautifully spoke about, is really handholding what's happening in Asia. And 500 hubs that Ariel and Pontus have held together is phenomenal. So thank you everyone for listening to our stories of being, I believe, being crazy, not normal. And I love to embrace that one. It's one of those adjectives that I have happily taken on. Makes my life simpler. But thank you very much. And thank you, Ariel, Pontus, Christian, Hannah, and the entire IDG backend who makes this look so simple, because I screw up my Zooms all the time. So thank you for acing this one so well.
Thank you, Pooja. That was amazing. Oh, wow. I could listen to all of you. I don't know how it is for the rest, but from the comments that I get in the chat, I think all 3 speakers, you could speak for another hour each easily. And it was just fantastic and so inspiring to hear all of your examples. So thank you so much for all the work that you are doing, all the love that you put into this, and also for sharing it with us here. I would like to now, because there's also so many other amazing people here. So how to put all of that into 90 minutes, I don't know, but we're trying our best here, people. So what we're going to do next, or our suggestion, is that we will go into smaller breakout groups of Christian will put you randomly into smaller Zoom rooms. So you will meet other people there. First, we would like to ask you, Christian, if you could share the Google PowerPoint slide. So it would be great if you have 15 minutes now. We shorten it a little bit from the original plan to somehow try to make it on time. So first round, we would ask you to do a brief round of introduction. Who are you? What's your name? Where you're sitting at right now? And maybe what's your connection to the IDG? So you get a feeling of who is in the room with you. And then in the second round, we ask you to focus on the question of what inspired you most after what you have heard from the speakers and these concrete, amazing IDG examples. And maybe what do you take back with you for your own work and your own doing? And then you have another 5 minutes, so 10 minutes for the first 2 questions and 5 minutes to kind of together in your small little group figure out what would be one question that you have for the speakers, because we thought up front, let's walk the talk. We don't want to kind of moderate you through a panel with questions that we would like to know, but we want to know your questions. So please bring back for each group one question that you would be interested to hear from the speakers. Probably we won't ask all of the questions, but let's see what comes along and we'll take it from there. And we will then host like 15-20 minutes panel to dive deeper into the questions that you're bringing with. So please make sure that one person in your group is responsible for taking the question with them and then also putting in the chat later on. Okay, so we will go into breakout rooms. You will be sent there automatically, so don't worry about that. Thank you, Christian, for this. Have fun, and please come back with one question to the speakers for later on. See you in 15 minutes. So, Rafaela, there is one question about financing. I think many people are asking themselves that question. How did you manage to pull that off? How did you finance it? What was the background there? Let's start with something very concrete here.
Yeah, so we've charged the participants. So we had like different packages because the space where it took place has different accommodations. So we created packages to cover both the rental as well as some financial for us as facilitators, and all the other costs associated to it. So yeah, the participants have paid to join. And I see here also that Yenny asked how long did it take for your idea to see the light of the day, idea of manifestation, and how was your energy along the process? So it's very good question, because I told Pontus when I took him to visit Aviva, the place where we had the gathering, that I've been there in 2021 when I first moved to Florianópolis, to that island in the south of Brazil during the pandemic. And I went there to visit it because I already followed their profile on Instagram. And I already had this dream inside of me that I wanted to host an immersion there. And I didn't even know the IDGs by then, 2021. And when I found the IDGs, I really felt, oh my God, that's it. Because I've heard from so many facilitators and consultants the difficulties they have to communicate the importance of inner development to corporations and so on, and how the IDGs are put with a good communication. Found that's it. So then I started to dream about an IDG there. And then suddenly the pieces started to connect when I met Alex and soon Leo as a hub coordinator and Maida. So yes, I could say that it started in 2021, but in 2022, speaking with Thomas Bjorkman, more than 2 years. And of course, there were moments of uncertainty. Is it going to work? And so on. But then with time, it became more clear that we could make it and that we had the resources that we needed. So it's not a flat path. It's like a roller coaster, moments of anxiety and moments of trust. But definitely we should follow our hearts.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rafaela. Daeun, I picked out a question that I would like to ask you, because I can imagine that the Asian network being spread across even different countries, it can be quite tricky to keep up the energy. So there was a question: what is the importance, or how do you hold up the energy to keep the hub inspired? Do you have a personal inner practice to keep your energy up high, and how do you handle that topic within the Asia network?
Actually we have a monthly meeting in the evening time. So after a very hectic and busy work, we gather together. So sometimes it's really difficult to focus on presence here and now. So we started the meditation, the check-in exercise. We have our core team members. So anyone would like to add? I want to invite you. Noel?
I had to find the button to unmute myself. Thanks, Daeun. Thanks for the question as well. I think it's so beautiful that we have a very committed team to start with. That even coming in with some odd hours, even for Daeun, have to thank her, it's over after midnight for Asian friends to join a global event is really a strong commitment from us. So even sometimes for the Asian Network meeting is a demonstration of commitments. And I must say we were lucky to connect with all these different hubs coming, speaking English is not straightforward for many of us. And there's still, because of the time difference, and every month that we struggle because of the time zone difference. Talking about Asia, I think we have 4 different time zones. We're still laughing at each other each time. But how to keep the energy up? I think we sometimes make personal connections with individual hubs to make them feel that they are connected with people rather than just with these little boxes. So that's one thing. We welcome each new hubs personally. And then, as Daeun said, that each session we start with a grounding exercise, and we have Majalis here, our European Asian friends, joining us after the October Summit last year, leading us into many beautiful grounding exercise. I must thank her. And we have other Rutu, who is from India, also a very committed core member. I must say that it may be because of the Asian culture, the collective culture. We like to get to each other, willing to listen to each other, and having that respect and patience to listen to our Asian friends who may not be good at English. We hold the space, try to listen, try to understand. I think that is the most beautiful things that we have in the Asian network.
Thank you very much, Noelle.
May I add one thing?
Please,
We
go ahead.
always try to respect and gratitude for each other.
And you gave such a great example also today, and I think we all felt the effect of that. So thank you for leading the way, Daeun. I would like to hand over to Pooja. There were quite many questions around the topic of, we would like to start a hub, or we just started a hub. Now we are not quite sure how to reach out to people. How do we attract members, so to say, to join us? I would be interested, Pooja. I mean, you kind of built up the hub into an existing network or organization, but what was your experience, or what would you like to share with people that are now new to this whole founding a hub, and what would be important for the process from your perspective?
Thank you, Hannah. I think Pontus and Ariel are here in terms of how you become a hub, and honestly, it's not rocket science. For now, in the effort of keeping it very open and inclusive, anybody and everybody who's holding intention can become the hub. I think the bigger challenge that all of us see when we are working together is how the hub continues to be an impact hub and keep doing work and stay active. So something that we have done, and it's a challenge. I can say in the figures game that we are 75 odd people, but on a given day, only 5 show up for the meeting. And we have a WhatsApp group which does minutes of the meeting after every meeting to be sent out to the whole forum. And I keep putting on the forum that, people, please quit the group if you're not active. And people just refuse to leave. And I get DMs saying, no, we are reading. We can't show up every Thursday. We're not able to come. But we are engaging in our own way. So a huge part of keeping the hub active for us has been trusting that, people might not show up physically, but they are gaining something and they are learning something. So from our end as holding space, trusting the fact that people are finding their own takeaway. But also in terms of networking, we are currently using, and for the last 10 years, have used every possible way to reach out for all our work. So we use our social media, we use our personal networks, we have broadcast lists. Networking is a slight strength of mine, so it helps. But we also use a lot of our family networks. I mean, I believe that if my mother sits on the Kindness Club meetings, I've achieved something phenomenal. Because if family can buy into something that you do, I think it is really incredible to know that there are others who also do, because they know they push your buttons the best. So I think it's not imagining that you need to reach out to somebody you don't know. It's really starting out with anybody and everybody. Like when we started, we reached out to cousins, we reached out to friends. When there was nobody coming to our forum meetings, I used to call my best friend saying, please come and sit with me. I need to make this happen. I have been in forum meetings where it's been two of us, and I've told my team that it doesn't matter if it's two of us, we hold intention. We show up. The universe will create ripples if we just keep holding intention. So we've, even showed up when it's just been two of us, and that has a ripple effect in many ways. A common question that's coming up in the same link, and I'll pass over to the others as well, is about funding. And I think a lot of us are also using our own networks to fund in various different ways. So at least for us out here in Protecterra is a not-for-profit entity on its own. So the organization funds the Kindness Club, which has never charged in 13 years. We haven't taken a penny. Everybody needs to buy a cookie or a coffee at the coffee shop we sit at. So we support them to give us a prime spot on the sofa once a week. But other than that, for us, our organization supports what we do. And we fund that through various different ways. But I've always told everybody who works with us that if your intention is super, the funds flow. You just have to kind of keep doing it.
Thank you, Pooja. Rafaela and Daeun, do you have anything to add to that, what Pooja just shared about how to start the hub, what's important in kind of setting it up? And then I would already wrap it up, unfortunately, but we will go into breakout rooms, and Rafaela, Daeun, and Pooja agreed to stay there. So if you have any question, you can, in the last half an hour, go into smaller groups with one of them and raise them there. But first, I would like to hear from Daeun and Rafaela if you have anything to share about starting a hub from your perspective.
I can add that I also answered some of the questions in the chat.
Thank you for that.
For us in the Florianópolis hub, it has worked as a learning lab, because if we think about the curve of learning to learn all the IDG tools and so on, it takes time. So along the past year, through our hub gatherings, our members had the chance to learn together more about the IDG toolkit. So right now, after 1 year, yes, there is a question of how can we make it sustainable long-term, because it does demand a lot of energy, dedication, but we don't have that answer yet. But if you think about other ways that you benefit from the work you do beyond money, I guess we can get a source of energy from there as well, like to do the work.
Thank
It all
you.
comes to purpose and intention.
Daeun?
I think I am on the same stage, our Korean hub, and I believe it's important to connect with individuals who empathize with IDG. And even if it's just one person, I introduce those who are interested in learning and more. And these days, I try to reach out to the organization which have possibility to join and have a little bit of interest on IDG. So if you have any more question or share idea, please contact me.
Thank you. We will, of course, share. Yes, Pooja. We will,
Sorry,
of course,
Hannah.
share
There's
more
a
information also in an after mail. Pooja, go ahead.
Sorry, before you threw us back into a breakout room, there was a very interesting question that came from a group which one of my team members has put out with regards to the IDG seeming like a privileged thing. And I think because we have Rafaela, Daeun, and me, all representation of the Global South, I think it's a pertinent one to pick up on this one, because we often talk about it in our hub, and for all of us here, they seem the IDGs, because they are in the colonizers' language of English, they seem very privileged, but indigenous cultures, traditions, people from any and every background have always practiced the IDGs. They are not something that are elite. And I think one of the key responsibilities that at least Protecterra or me as an individual or the Asia Wisdom Network, if I can speak on our behalf, would hold is to make them accessible, and Rafaela has already started work of translating them into regional languages out in Latin America. So bring them into languages that people understand and making people realize that you are the ones who embody these. It's not a bunch of people who sit on a Zoom meeting from across the world. So I don't think the IDGs are really elite. I think we imagine them to be, but they're everywhere if we look at them.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for stressing that out and also for picking out the question. Thank you very much. I can only say we hear that, or the IDGs. I think we're all aware of that. And so, yeah, thank you for speaking about it and stressing it out. Ariel has also posted into the chat more answers about the question around concrete IDG practices, where to start, how to bring the IDGs to organizations, and how to connect or if to connect virtually also in your hubs. She has shared a link there that we will also share in an after mail with all of you. But Ariel and Pontus, I would like to hand over to you for the end, so to say. How are you now? Is there something that you would like to add? What's present for you right now? And what do you want to leave us with? Pontus.
I feel
Yes.
I feel extremely grateful and energized and filled with hope from all these great examples and also from the energy in this meeting. And I really hope to see many of you continue to co-create and be part of this emerging network and framework and community.
I feel extraordinarily grateful. I feel inspired, and an invitation to follow your curiosity. So check out the community page, and if there's a hub or a person that you want to know more about, I encourage you to reach out to them. The Global Practitioners Network is a great place to start. They will be having a meeting the second week of February, and the calendar event is there on the community page. So yeah, follow your curiosity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And looking forward to meeting those who want to meet in the afterglow now.
Yes, before we jump into the afterglow, we have some small announcements, so to say, from Katarina, and then I also quickly hand over to Vanessa. But Katarina, what do you have to share with us?
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thank you so much to everyone. This was really inspiring and very interesting to listen to hear more about those hands-on projects and initiatives. I just have a few announcements to make from the IDG team, from some of our members. And I'll just kind of do that one by one now, because there are also a few opportunities where we're asking for your input or where we have a bit of a call for action. The first one is the GLSD, as we have some fun acronyms in this organization as well. GLSD stands for the Global Leadership Program on Sustainable Development, and that is actually a capacity building program that we will have starting soon, and we have a deadline for applications coming up on the 31st of January. So someone maybe can post the link to that in the chat as well. Basically, this is a program that is for free, and you can apply together with other people in your country. So we're calling out for people from specific countries. It's a multi-stakeholder process. So you would need, if you are in a corporation, you would need people from civil society or from governments and from other kind of stakeholder groups. So you can apply together, but then you will get a fully funded program where you can actually develop your own capacities for better impact in your sustainable development field. And we're concretely asking for applications from the following countries. I'm just going to call them out: Albania, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, India, Mexico, Netherlands, Peru, Rwanda, Tunisia, UK, and Zambia. So in case you're from any of these countries or know anyone, please feel free to apply. As I said, it's the 31st of January where the deadline is coming up. I think this is a really good opportunity to take part in this program. Do we have that in the chat?
Yes.
It's good. Thank you. Second thing is we have the one question survey still going on. As a lot of you know, the whole IDG initiative started with this question, what are the skills and capacities that we need to develop in order to build a sustainable future for people and the planet? This was how the movement started a few years ago. And back then it was only just a few thousand answers that we got. So we're now going into a second iteration with this whole question. And the goal is to actually gather 100,000 answers from ideally more than 100 different countries and more than 500 answers for each of those countries. So it's quite a high goal. We're now more or less at 11,000 answers, so we still need plenty of more. And here the invitation on the one hand is for each of you to actually give us your answers. What do you think? What are the skills that we need? Is it amongst the 23 skills that we already have in the framework, or maybe it's something completely else that applies to you, your culture, your country? Share it in your networks, in your social media. We're also giving a social media kit in the links. At any events that you have. And then the second part of this invitation is also if you know researchers or academics who can help us to actually make sense of all the data that we're gathering in their respective countries, that would also be great. And we are then coordinating this large network of researchers all over the world. And here we currently have the deadline running until the end of February. But if we don't manage to get enough data, we're actually thinking about extending that deadline. Third shout out is about the next IDG Summit. As you know, after the summit is before the summit, so we're already starting to prepare for this year's IDG Summit. Please mark the dates, 16th to 18th of October. It will this year once more happen in Stockholm. We are aware that this won't go on forever. And obviously online as well. We will start with the early bird ticket sales in February. And second part of the shout out here is also that the IDG Summit for us is really the main moment in the year where we want to bring stories to the front that really connect this inner development for outer change. So we heard quite some stories today as well. If you know more stories, people, organizations, initiative that really highlight that connection between inner development and outer change, please feel free to also shout it out to us and send us any of your suggestions. And then fourth, just mark the date, is also that we're celebrating the kind of 3-year anniversary of the IDGs this year, and we will have a bit of a celebration going on the 14th of May in the afternoon CET. Details will be sent out soon. It will be once more in Stockholm and online, but just for you to mark your calendars, we would be happy to welcome all of you there. And I think that's it from me, and I think I might hand it over to Vanessa to tell us a bit more about the IDG podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katharina. I actually want to pick up something that has been said by Pooja in the chat, and it says the keyword that comes up is intention. And this is exactly what happened with us in the IDG community in Barcelona. We marked the intention. That was like a little seed that just came up somehow in my head a few months ago, that it would be great to actually create a podcast around the IDGs. And why a podcast? Because it's such an easy way of listening what we are really all about. So that's what happened. 2 of my other colleagues started working on the podcast as well without me knowing. And we sort of put that intention in it, and it literally manifested itself. So holding that space for intention, it's actually the first little step for us to actually go forward with this movement itself. So I'm going to just drop into the chat. The podcast already has people like Daniel Hires, like Jamie Bristow. And just yesterday, we published the one with Ariel and Pontus, and it's actually 4 of us talking alongside Eugenia, who is my other partner. And it's just basically giving a little bit of insight on what the IDGs are all about. And I also want to give a call out, because what I'm going to do as well is leave my email in the chat, because what we really want to do is give a voice to the IDG movement. And what that really means is that we want to hear about the movement from inside. So I'm going to leave my email. If you really want to share some stories as well, you're welcome to email me. And we could also maybe have an interview together at some time, and let's just co-create this together, because it's all about the IDG movement. So thank you so much. Back to Hannah.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. We will also share the link to the podcast in the aftermail, so you will also get it there. But for now, we will have another, let's say, 15 minutes for afterglow, so quick afterglow today. There will for sure be a room with Pooja, one with Daeun, and one with Rafaela, and one with Ariel and Pontus. So if you're interested to speak to either one of them in a smaller group, then please join their rooms. And if you want to host a small breakout room for 15 minutes with a topic that is dear to you, that you want to invite people to talk with you about, then please unmute yourself now and tell us. So Christian can set up the rooms, and then you would just have to choose where you would like to go. Some of you, I believe, have to leave already. Then I can only say thank you so much for joining us. And there will be the next gathering on February 20. It will be about arts and the IDGs. I'm very excited about this one, but you will hear from us about that also in another email. So, Christian, please set up the rooms. If you want to host a breakout session now for whatever topic, now would be the time to unmute yourself and tell us, let us know, so Christian can put you there. Ariel, please just speak, because I don't see all the hands. Yes.
Before we just hear that, I just want to give a round of applause before we transition to you, Hannah, to you, Christian, to our three fabulous speakers. Thank you so much for this gathering. So powerful, so inspirational. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you to each and every one of you. It was really amazing. I think also the best way to start this gathering year with the community and the hubs in the center as the heart of the IDGs. So thank you.